first time I became cognizant, my first experience, like I said, was about my own marginality, but that wasn't even that important because, you know, I can manage. But it's when I started living in Canada and realizing that, you know what, I'm an immigrant, so I have a sense of home and I have a sense of place, which is my home, even now. Like, you know, if push comes to shove, I can also turn around and I can say, well, I have family back home, there is a home back home, there is a history and a geography that is mine that you guys can't take away, irrespective of how racist you are and how Neanderthal you think we are actually somebody important, you know, da-da-da-da-da. But my kids, they were born in Scarborough General Hospital. So if something happens to them, they've got no sense of this is home for them. Right? Like they've got to own this place, and they've got to think they have a sense of entitlement to this country in a way that I can never even hope to have, nor do I have any desire, quite frankly. I don't even want to lay claims to this country in that sense, because I have a lot of history behind me. But for them, it is very important. To them, Pakistan is not home. Pakistan is just some, you know, crazy place they go to from time to time, and there are some grandparents who spoil them, and you know, when shooting starts, they've got a return ticket to Canada, right? Like last time we were in Pakistan, Benazir got assassinated. So we were locked up in the house and all you could hear was shooting at night. And my kids are like, what's that noise? I'm like, oh, just gunfire, it's okay, just relax. Nothing is going to happen to you, just don't go out or listen. They're like, how can you live like this? I'm like, we don't. But they have a return ticket, they can come back to Canada. And after 2 weeks, they're like, can we go home? So to me, that is very important in the work that I do, is that my kids, and all kids, that's why I like, you know, to work with young people, they have to own this country with a sense of belonging and a sense of entitlement. And it isn't going to come just because they were born here. Because they get marginalized in so many different ways, you know, they get racialized. I remember when 9/11 happened, it was my friend Margaret Parsons, who was the executive director of African Canadian Legal Clinic, who called me up and said, welcome to the world of racial profiling. I'm like, thank you, that was just one experience I was missing on, you know, thank you, now I can, you know, participate along with you. She's like, man, we've had racial profiling all our lives. So now you discover what it feels like. So, you know, we have something in common, right? But that kind of thing that makes me realize that my children and all of the young people who are growing up here and born and brought up, even if you're not born and brought up here, the ones who are growing up here and who are racialized, their link to the nation is very tenuous. It's very tenuous. Just because you have a birth certificate, which gets you a passport, doesn't necessarily mean that you're safe. Maher Arar, for instance, had been living here since he was 17, still got, you know, shipped off to Syria and tortured. Swag Haji had a passport but still had to do a DNA test to prove that, you know, she is the mother of a child who's living here. For some people in different times, for different reasons, that link to the nation is very, very tenuous. To take that nonsense, but I refuse to acknowledge that for my kids. And I don't mean, when I say my kids, I don't mean just my kids, I mean all of you. So that's where my passion comes from. That's what keeps me going, doing the stuff that I have done over the years, which is that I advocate for immigrant and refugee rights. But not as immigrants and refugees alone, but as Canadians. Like, we need to change the discourse of Canadianness. But I'm also becoming very aware that you can't do it without acknowledging First Nations people and their struggles. Because when, you know, when all is said and done, we are living on their lands. Okay, so for instance, I teach a course on planning where Kende came a couple of weeks ago to give a lecture to my class. What is planning? Planning is about land use. But when there are outstanding land claims, how can you talk about land use? I mean, we talk about land use as if it's like, you know, should we make a road over here? Should we make a bridge over there? Yeah, but you don't own this effing land. So don't tell me that you know, planning is a neutral activity. You have already taken over somebody's land and now you're going to do whatever the hell you want, right? And if we, as people of color, and as young people, you guys, not me, although I feel young, if you're not cognizant of that, then we become party to further oppression, right? It becomes another layer on top.
Or maybe participants.
And we become complicit, okay? I mean, that's another problem, that we have to always remember whose oppression that we are getting complicit in. And I'm not saying this is something that should keep you up at night and worry about who am I oppressing. Navel gazing is not what I'm asking about. Okay, like I get really irritated. I remember I went to a presentation. It was open mic something. Some South Asian young people had put together an open mic session at Buddies in Bad Times or something. Things I discover. And they were, going on and on about identity, and I'm so conflicted about identity. Am I an Indian? Am I a Pakistani? Am I a South Asian? And I was listening to this, and I'm like, maybe I'm too old to understand that, but you know what? I really don't care. I don't misunderstand me. Identity is very important, but not to the point where it overwhelms you to such an extent. I'm like, you know what? You are standing here with this mic, worrying about what choices do I make. Should I call myself an Indian or a Pakistani or a South Asian? I'm like, I really don't give a fuck what you call yourself. Because there are people out there in the street who are also making choices and who are South Asians. And their choices are, should I pay my mortgage and therefore keep this home so that my children are not thrown out into the street, or should I buy food? Because I can't afford to do both. So what I'll do is I'll pay my mortgage with whatever money I can make, because I don't know how long I have this job, which is usually a precarious, temporary and shitty job to start off with. So I'm going to do that, and instead I'll go to the food bank to get my food. And the food that I get in the food bank is going to be very mainstream. So it's going to be Kraft Dinner, etc. Because of course I'm poor. So I'm not supposed to have A, healthy food because I'm poor, and B, if I'm ethno-racial, who gives a shit? You're poor in ethno-racial, you may have other preferences, who gives a damn? This is not a goddamn restaurant where you can pick your dishes. So you don't like Kraft Dinner, tough luck, that's what you're going to get. You don't like Campbell's soup, that's what you're going to get. So there is a politics even in food banks, but we are not going to talk about that. I'm like, that's the choices some people are making too, right? And there are other people, other young people who are making choices like, should I go to school when nobody gives a damn about me, and they teach me stuff that means absolutely zilch all. I don't get reflected in that readings. I mean, I was just so amazed that my kids go to school and they read about all these dead white people. But they never read about an Aboriginal person, an African Canadian who's been, and I'm not talking immigrants here, I'm talking African Canadians who've been here for generations. It's like all of us were sitting on our behind doing nothing, waiting to be liberated and run and controlled and ruled by somebody else. Yeah. So, we read about Scottish people and British people and French people, but we don't read about ourselves. So then the issue arises, how the hell is my child going to find meaning in that education that doesn't reflect him or her?